Now it's running.
It's running now? Okay, so today we're going to be making microwave peanut brittle. I'm going to go over what we've got here first, because although this is a really easy recipe, it's really easy to mess it up if everything's not done right. So what we got here, first we've got some boiling water, and that's to keep our utensils clean. We've got our utensils. So what we need for utensils is 2 rubber spatulas. We've got 3 sets of mixing spoons here. 2 mixing spoons for our first mix, 2 mixing spoons for our second mix, 1 mixing spoon with our spatula for our final. Okay. We've got sugar, just plain white sugar. We've got raw Spanish peanuts. We've got Caro, and it's important to use Caro and not an off-brand. I've tried off-brands before and it doesn't work. We've got baking soda. Make sure your baking soda is fresh. If it's old, it won't work. Vanilla, butter, cut into 1 tablespoon little pats here, so I don't have to bother measuring that when the time comes. This is our final cookie sheet that we're going to put the peanut brittle on, and that's on a cooling rack because this stuff is going to be blistering hot when it finally gets out of the microwave. Speaking of blistering hot, it's important you know that this stuff is like molten lava once you get cooking, and don't get it on yourself because you'll burn forever. Important microwave cooking dish about the size of something that could hold like a pie pan kind of size. The lighter it is, the better. And if it's this Bakelite stuff, that's better because the heavier glass pans get hot themselves and really hard to handle. So that can make it more hard, difficult. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to do this kind of quick because if we don't do the microwaving and mixing thing fast, it doesn't work either. That can mess things up. You don't want the product to cool while you're mixing it. You do it like you're in a race. So this first part, when we're mixing it together, it's not so much of a race. But so we're going to take 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of peanuts, and sometimes I go heavy on the peanuts. And I found that cashews work also, but you've got to find the raw cashews. If you use the regular cashews that you find that are already baked or whatever they do with the cashews end up burning. So you got to find the raw ones. So you get those, put those out there, and then we're going to add the Caro. So we want to make sure we get all of the Caro in there. So that's going to be our first rubber spatula.
How much Caro?
This is half a cup of Caro. And we want to get it all out of here. Every drop that we possibly can. All right. I always keep my thing on a plate because otherwise it makes a mess and my wife gets upset. So we're going to want to mix this up really good. We don't want any dry sugar. So just take your time on this one. This is the one we can take our time on. So we're going to make sure that this all gets mixed up and all of the sugar gets, a little bit wet. Not so much wet as sticky with everything else. And the first time we microwave it, we're going to kind of not let it spread out. We're going to try and bunch it a little bit. And I've done this several different ways, either putting the Caro in first, or the sugar in first, or the peanut in first, or trying to mix it different ways. The way I found that it's best and easiest to do is to put the sugar down, then put the peanuts on top of that, and then pour the caramel on top of that. That seems to work best for me anyway. But, you know, you can experiment. As long as it all gets mixed up in the end, it's all good. So it takes a little bit of time to get all this stuff in together. But this is the last time it's going to have to be, you know, taking this much time to mix something. Okay. So I guess I should have one more spoon so I can get this stuff off of here, because we want all of it. We don't want to miss any of this stuff. Scrape all that off of there. And then these guys are going in the hot water, not to be used again until they're cleaned. Okay, so we've got our first mix. Now that mix is going to go into the microwave now for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, this is a 1200 watt microwave, so we want 1100 watts. So what I do is change the power level to 90%. And at 90%, now we're running really close to 1100. Not exactly 1100, but it's close enough and the times work. So our time for that, again, is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm at 90%, 345, hit start. Now it's time for a little bit of Irish whiskey. Because we do have time for that.
Oops.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Ah, yeah. Because this does not have to be a chore. This can be fun.
You want to close that
All
cupboard,
right.
honey?
Sure. All right. So we got a little bit of time to wait. So we're going to stand here and panic that we don't have all our stuff ready. That's usually what I do.
I have a question, honey. Is your butter salted or unsalted?
This is unsalted. I don't know that it makes a difference. I'm pretty sure that I've used it either way, but if I've got the unsalted butter, I like unsalted butter when I'm cooking anything.
Okay. And I think you've got your cookie sheet buttered already. Is that right?
Yep, cookie sheet is buttered. I don't know if I even mentioned that, but the cookie sheet has to be buttered. Otherwise, when you go to get it off of there, it may or may not release. Of course, if you stand there and look at the timer, it just goes on forever. But I'll probably be editing this little portion out anyway. We'll see how it goes. So when it comes time to pull this out and mix it, we're going to pull that out and we're going to mix it like we're in a race. I know I've said this before, but it's important. It's got to be done quick and it's got to get back in there quick. And you also got to be aware that when you grab it, it's going to be hot. And you don't want to get that Caro sugar mixture on your hands because it'll burn the snot out of you. So we're waiting for our 3 minute 45, and this mix is just straight mixing. We're not going to add anything to it. We're just going to mix it.
Do you have some oven mitts ready?
I don't use oven mitts. They just get in the way. It makes it harder.
Okay.
Now, if you have a different kind of plate, you may need oven mitts. This thing's got little handles on the sides that don't get hot. So as long as I don't stick my finger in the mix, I'm good to go. We hope. Anyway, we'll see. When I start screaming and throwing things, then you'll know I made a mistake again. Won't be the first time.
I see you've got some helpers, Santa's elves, standing by. There's Sammy Elf. Don't want to disturb you, Sammy. And then we have a Lily Elf over here. Morning, Lily Elf. Oh, and there's an Aggie Elf and a Reachy Elf. Hi, babies. You come to help? Daddy's making peanut brittle.
All right, we're down to 20 seconds, so we're almost there.
You could do a Bulgarian jig.
Well, if there is such a thing. If there is, I don't know it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay, so you can see we got a good bubble going on here. We just want to scrape all the corners really good because that's where the dry sugar hides. This is the one where we got to make sure we get all that dry sugar. Then we're going to stir, 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 stir. Get this thing all stirred up really good. Don't take too long doing it. All right, then we're going to scrape this stuff off. Drop those in there. And then this is going to go back in for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So again, you got to make sure we do the power level. 2, 4, 5. Start. Now, if you have an 1100 watt microwave, you don't have to worry about the power level. If you have less than 1100 watts, you can't do this. The times won't work anymore because you can't bump up your level. So if you've got a 800 watt microwave, you've either got to get a different microwave, borrow somebody's microwave, or you got to sit here and try and figure out adjusting the times to cook it longer, and that can be that could be difficult. I wouldn't want to try to do that. I would just buy a new microwave. Here in America, get a bigger microwave.
Reachy. You looking forward to some peanut brittle, honey?
Okay, so back this way. So on this mix, we're going to add butter and vanilla. So I'm going to make sure I got that set and ready to go. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 tablespoon of butter. Make sure you get the real vanilla. Don't get imitation vanilla. 1 minute 10 and counting.
You look very sexy.
Alright. Where are we at? 40 seconds left.
Oh, oh.
Got time for another shot, but I got all day to do this, so don't want to get too wacky.
So we're making the batches today for your colleagues and friends at work, correct?
Whoever.
We make it for friends and neighbors maybe another weekend.
Alright, we're down to 10 seconds here. And again, quick, this is a race. Alright, plop that butter on there.
Smells so good. Ooh,
And we should get that good sizzle.
Yum.
If you don't get that good sizzle, something wrong happened. Right, now this is when you wish you had smell-o-vision, because now it's starting to
it
smell
smells
really good.
really good. Ooh.
I mean, what's better than butter and vanilla? Okay,
And
so you got to make
sugar.
sure that that gets stirred in. All right, although this is a race, We got to make sure that we're doing the race right, and we're not going to get disqualified for running outside of the lines or some crap. All right, so now you can tell that it's starting to change color now. All right, here we go. Get that all in there. Drop those in the hot water. This goes in for 50 seconds now. Again, we've got 90%, 5-0, start. All right, now we're gonna get our baking soda ready. Got 1 teaspoon of baking soda. All right, get that right there. This is ready. That's ready. And make sure you get a close-up of this when we do this.
Okay.
Go. You can see it's looking all bubbly.
Ooh.
Now watch this. It's going to start getting foamy. You got to be careful when we stir this now, because my pan is just barely big enough to contain this.
Is it important not to over stir?
Yeah, you don't want to over stir this. You just want to mix it in. Make sure that everything gets mixed in there. Okay, so that's all mixed in. And we're gonna dump that onto the pan. Scrape it all down. This is where I always burn myself. All right, I want to get this off of here, because I don't want one little bite missing. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's all you really have to do. Now, some people like the thin, crispy pieces around the edges.
I do.
And if you really like that, you can take the cookie sheet and wiggle it just a little bit, but not too much. You don't want to do it too much, because if you do it too much, the air starts coming out of the mix. If the air comes out of the mix, then you get hard, really hard, not the light, fluffy peanut brittle that this recipe is really great for. So that's it. That's all you have to do.
How long will that take to set and harden before
it
you...
depends on the time. It depends on the temperature that we're standing in. The cooler it is, the less time it takes. Now, a lot of times I'll take this outside and put it outside if it's cold. Can't do that today because it's raining. Not that we don't, not that I'd have to put it in the rain, but the humidity's too high outside. So we got wet air outside, so that this thing might suck in wetness, and then it's not gonna taste, the texture will change too. So if it's dry and cold outside, good deal, you can do that. Either that or just leave it inside, and it'll just take a little bit longer. But while this one's drying, you grab your next one and get going on the next one.
And then you're going to wash all your utensils off thoroughly and get ready to start
Yep,
all over again.
All of this stuff has to be completely clean, especially this. And this is the hardest thing to clean, because this stuff starts getting hard immediately, and the only way to get it off is with super hot water or chipping it off. Sometimes if it's in the right places, I can chip it off. In the past, I've tried to use silicone, but the silicone is too wobbly, and I had more burning incidents with the silicone because I couldn't keep everything steady. Yeah, I think that's it.
Why don't we come back and visit with you when that is ready to be broken up and put into a container, and then you can talk more about storage.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
See you in a bit.
Bye.